have to say, this is probably one of the best casts I've ever worked with. Married by me. Hey, guys, we're gonna get on stage. Okay. I wasn't even
Places and 25 people!
Tonight's the night here at the El Portal. We're ready to make our big debut. We've got Africans and Asians,
homosexual Caucasians,
hoping that tonight they'll break through.
While you still can.
If you were pleasing, and here's the reason, it's pilot season.
You're nothing more than a guilty gunslinger caught holding the blind pastor's daughter. Now kiss me, Walter.
HR says no touching.
What the fuck is included?
Kiss us! Oh, yeah, yeah,
The CBS Diversity Institute, we feel, is sort of a gold standard in our business in terms of creating opportunity and a process for writers, diverse writers, and directors to really learn and hone their craft. And we kind of took that same discipline from the work that we do with writers and directors and transitioned into turning the Diversity Showcase, which was always an opportunity to showcase actors of diverse ethnicities, gender orientation, et cetera, to really put them in the spotlight and make sure that casting directors, agents, directors, executives got a chance to see how talented and how gifted these young people, actually people of all ages, really are.
So when I'm asked what makes our showcases so special, I often refer to the words of Maya Angelou, who said that diversity creates a rich tapestry. And within that tapestry, each thread is unique and important in its value. There is richness and beauty in diversity.
Ever since it began, agents, managers, casting directors, casting executives, network executives, everybody has been singing the praises of it, and everybody has realized the value of it, but also, you know, the opportunity that it's given the community to meet and be introduced to actors that otherwise they wouldn't probably have an opportunity to see.
CBS really wants to see their shows reflect the audiences that are watching their shows. It's a new kind of America, and they recognize that the people of color, minorities, and people that were diverse have always been a part of the fabric of America. And what they're doing is creating entertainment for that.
CBS is very committed to diversity, and this is a huge initiative for us because it makes such a big difference in people's lives. I think that after 3 months of this, I think people's auditioning skills change, and I think that they become much more polished.
I think my favorite part of the process of this showcase really is remembering that first audition of all of the performers. You always remember the first time you saw them, the first time they made you laugh, the first time the words that came out of their mouth, that you get to really witness the growth of the actor and really celebrate in their comedic talents. Not only that, from start, we get to see their audition. Then moving forward from that is being able to see them on that big stage and really watching the process of, gosh, I think I'm really witnessing something special here.
When we see a hole in the industry, we feel the need to represent that on stage. So when people come to our showcase, they will see that we were able to find, you know, not one, but 4 African-American women who can stand their own and really bring something special to the table.
It's a fundamental responsibility of ours to reflect our culture and our society. It's also good for the economy. You know, as more and more businesses and more corporations are run by people of diverse backgrounds, they know that that's good business. They know that as the Latino community continues to grow, as the African American community continues to grow, we are all truly becoming one big melting pot. And when people watch television, they need to see themselves and their family reflected on television.
I got involved in this year's showcase. I had heard about it. My friend Ryan was the head writer this year, and I came and saw the show last year, and it seemed like so much fun. This year he sent me a text, and he asked me about my diversity. I said, well, actually I'm part Cherokee. And so he talked to Fern, and they brought me in, and I didn't realize until I got into the showcase how many industry people really pay attention to this particular showcase and how respected CBS is for doing this over the last 9 years.
So I think that the marketing of CBS for this showcase is like 80% of why it's so great, because somehow Hollywood has a demand for this show, and for CBS to be able to filter in all of these different artists and writers and singers and dancers and create a cohesive unit is really why this showcase matters.
Hollywood is very exclusive, and it's an insiders club, and if you're lucky to make friends with somebody in that club, awesome, but it's very rare that there's an institutionalized door into that club.
When I got word that I was chosen to participate, I was having lunch in Toronto, and I screamed in the middle of the restaurant and then got asked to leave. It was insane. I felt so lucky and so I was like, oh my God, everyone there is gonna be so much funnier than I am, which they are, I was right.
But I honestly, I wasn't excited when I first got it. It took a minute. Once I saw the process and I started getting into it, then like the excitement of just being in the room and being filled with all this talent, that's when I got excited. My number one rule, especially being on set and even when you're working, is iron sharpens iron. And so when you're working with sharp people that are on it, you're like, that person is funny. Like, what can I learn from them?
I've been really excited that I've been getting meetings with agents, managers, and I met a couple casting directors for movies filming right now in Los Angeles, and we're a week away from Showcase starting, so it's been a good indication that I've been taking meetings even weeks before Showcase started.
When I know people are watching my scene, especially if it's people who can make a possible difference too, it doesn't make me more nervous. Actually, I feel like it makes my work even shine more, because this rush takes over me and I'm just so excited. And you don't know who is gonna think what, but you just hope for the best. And basically these people, for the most part, have a key to your success. They just give you that little push and give you your first big job, and then it can go on from there. So it's super exciting.
My favorite part, definitely, of working on the CBS Diversity program is just being surrounded by such a talented group of people, wonderful people, talented. All these people are on their way to great things. Just being in this world, being in the rehearsal room every day and seeing these amazing people go up and these great writers putting in material, it is infectious, and it is exciting to see the talent and to know that these guys are about to blow up.
I started writing for the showcase because I got recommended by a friend of mine who wrote for it, I believe, 2 years ago. And so that was the process for writers. They had to be recommended, and I think they got screened, and I emailed them clips of different sketches I had worked on or helped write that were online. So when I first heard, I was scared, and you end up getting over it, because it's like, you don't do this program for 4 months to be scared. You do it to gain confidence and courage.
The best I can explain it is, like, in the Academy Awards, very rarely is there one performer who knocks it out of the park and that's the one. It's kind of like a joy to be nominated type of thing, where the selection process of what sketches go up and who responds to what from this point on is not totally random, but kind of like knocking out great sketches. So just saying I wrote for CBS Diversity is like the big thing, and then anything else is icing.
Some of the people I look up to are people who are writer performers, like Mindy Kaling, Renee Goubet. He did the showcase a few years ago, and he's a writer and performer on that TV show Ground Floor.
I really would love to do a sitcom and movies and the whole thing, but I would mostly just really love to just be a working actor.
I want a career. I want this to be my job. I want this to be my life, whether it be acting, writing, producing, whatever. I just want to be in it.
You get to see people that you're not used to seeing in different cultures be funny and show different characteristics of themselves that sometimes they're not cast in, usually. So it really makes a difference.
I think what makes it important is the diversity part is what makes it interesting to me, because it is shining the light, I think, on just in a way that isn't really done a lot. The stage is set for us to succeed, and you know, some of the sketches and the work that we do is really pointing the finger on the diversity and on the you know, whatever ethnicity or race we are, and then some of them are just, we're just here because we wrote stuff that's good, and we have this stage to show people that either it can be because of the way that we look, or it's irregardless of the way that we look.
I guess I didn't realize how important it was until I was about a month into the process and seeing like all the people coming in and sort of checking out the rehearsal process. I think it's just one of the few ways for this town to really get a good look at, for lack of a better, the diversity that is offered in this town. I mean, like, you look at the cast, it's such a crazy hodgepodge people.
It's able to showcase this much talent and these people that are right on the fringe of breaking through and giving them a moment to, you know, shine.
I think the CBS Showcase is really important to the industry because it gives people a chance to get seen for the first time, and I think that's a big part of this thing. There's a lot of talent that gets unseen and unnoticed.
Not that it is, we're representing all the different diversities, but it's just, look at how funny these people are. These are who you need to have in your shows.
Oh wow, it gives opportunities for people that you've never heard of, never seen, and you know, see how good you are. Work on them chops, you know, try to get some work.
It makes such a big difference in people's lives. And everyone in this town is so excited about Showcase, and they're like, don't forget to invite me. So you know it works. You know that it's not like, ugh, we'll have to go to a showcase. You know, people look at it like, oh my God, it's like a Broadway show.
It felt like 30 people was in there. And all I did was, I looked outside, and it was the window, and I said, I'm gonna look directly at the parking lot. And here goes nothing, because they don't give you sides. I was like, all right, so I guess I gotta go do some characters.
So I did some original characters that I have been doing at Groundlings, and then I did some impressions, like Owen Wilson, Michael Phelps, just Ryan Gosling.
My Honey Bunches of Oats lady, I do an impression of that black woman from Honey Bunches of Oats. She's like, are you hungry? And then hopefully they laughed.
They told me in the room that I got the call back, so I mean, I was excited. And then the second round, that hallway was really hot, that's what I remember.
It was a little bit bigger. Fern, Rick, some of the producers or whatever, other writers were in there, and everybody. And it was just like every time it was like, oh, give more impressions, give more of this, give more of that. I'm like, I don't know how many more I got. And then I waited a while, didn't hear anything.
I was walking from my car to my apartment, and Dory Potter called me, and I've been auditioning for 3 years to get into this showcase, and I've always wanted to be part of it, and I've always watched it with awe. And when he called, I just braced myself for either way it could go, and he was like, so, you're in Showcase, and I think I screamed my head off, and I made a total fool of myself, but I can't help but get really excited about these things. Like, I can't help with every little booking or every little thing. I felt on top of the moon and called my parents, and they were so proud of me, and they've been bragging about it, so it's good.
Rehearsal.
It's a part of the process of seeing some sketches that need work.
A lot of people might say, oh, we rehearse a couple weeks. I mean, we really are in there for 3 months, killing ourselves.
it's an entertainment boot camp. We're here to get you ready to work.
That process, that is probably the hardest shit I've ever done. That showcase class is very hard, very hard. For some reason, it's never ending. You don't even have time to say, oh, I didn't do well, I did good. You're like, okay, good, great. Next sketch.
Just for clarity's sake, immediately after this, we are doing Man on the Street. So Ray Grady, you know to hustle out and do a little run through with your friend.
The hardest part of this process is just the workload. I mean, you're getting so many sketches thrown at you for, for months on end, weeks, and then you don't get them, or you write and you're working really hard on something and then it gets taken away from you and you're like, that's my baby, but it happens. That's like a part of the industry that we're in.
I think the hardest part of the process is the not taking it personally, staying level-headed, not getting emotional over things getting cut or you being replaced, or a lot of times it's the essence of the whole show. And I think that's something really important to carry on in any career. It's the big picture. It's not just your moment, but it's hard not to get caught up in like, this is mine, and get possessive over your moment or your role or your sketch. And to think of the greater good and to think about the big picture. I think that is forcing everybody to grow up a lot.
I think the hardest part of the showcase process is probably never knowing what's going to happen next, not knowing if something's going to get cut, if something's working, if something's going to work one day and suck the next day. It's just a lot of tension building.
As a performer, I do have a special affinity for the performers that are up there right now, and I think there's also a compassion because to get up there every day, different sides, trying to give life to these performances, and they announce, actors, you have to have your energy up because you can kill a sketch. It's like, it's a very hard position to be in, and I think they're doing a great job.
The writing process for the showcase is a long and hard one. We write for many months. We have a staff of over 50 writers, and collectively they write about over 600 sketches. So that's a lot of material, and only about 25 or maybe a little less than that actually make it into the final stage. Probably rule number one for writing for the showcase is to write for the performers. That's what we tell the writers from day one. It's the best way to get a sketch into the showcase. It's the best way to really have your voice heard in this showcase as a writer, is to really make sure that your pieces make the actors shine. And we say, go out with them at night, hang out with them, search them online, make sure you're watching every piece of information you can about them, because every actor has a different thing about them that makes them funny, that makes them brilliant, that makes them a reason why they're in our cast. And that's what we have to find, and that's what we have to write to.
The hardest part about this process is being rejected on a daily basis. Having things that you work for hours and hours on just immediately like, no, we didn't like that. Like just immediately your soul's crushed in an instant.
There's things that you don't want to hear, and at the end of the day, in like a tub of cookie dough later, you are like, oh yeah, I was right, okay. But sometimes it is brutal to hear, just like, hey, blunt, this is how it's got to be.
So it's just growing pains, really, but it's a great group to go with it through, and we're so supportive of each other.
Different people in the showcase inspire me in different ways. Just getting to be with such talented individuals has been just absolutely inspiring. Watching Chloe cold read is going to make me audition better. Just the way she can take a sketch and immediately read through it maybe once or twice in her head, and then she just nails it. She's a great reader. Watching writers that just like Sam can come in with 7 sketches in a day, and probably 5 out of 7 are hilarious. Just watching people that are doing this on such a high level makes you want to be at that bar with them.
The opening number.
All these producers and directors and casting people coming to see me.
I'm kind of very much a Hollywood newbie.
I think I have a sketch in, like, fingers crossed. It could get cut.
What's going to make it into the show, and whose sketches they're going to be, and what the actors are going to do with them, and are the people going to laugh, and is it going to be worth it?
I've been ready for this for a long time. I mean, I don't even care who, Jesus could come, the Pope could come to the show, and I wouldn't get nervous at this point.
You know what's crazy about this process? Is that it's one of those things where it's like, it feels like it's going to go on forever, and then you have this moment where you're like, it's over.
Yeah, it's really
weird. It's like weird for a 2-day show kind of thing. Very strange.
Yeah. Last show.
Last show.
If the show scandal took place when Thomas Jefferson was president.
Mr. President. On my tombstone it will read, "Here lies Thomas Jefferson, founding father, murderer, ass buggerer."
Tyler. Tyler. Just gotta make it 18. Just hold it. Tyler.
Is that a dead, half-naked male prostitute I see?
Yes.
I'm gonna need some more rags to clean that up.
Want me to bang you? Call for appointment today at 323 Bang Me. 7.
This shit, Nico.
No, you're good.
Here we go. You're all set. Here we go.
Yes, boss.
What's the matter?
I'm lactose intolerant. I can't have no cappuccino.
It was so fun.
And we're gonna be typecast. Typecast. Everyone start somewhere.
What if we mix it up a bit and it was like, take a chance if you wanna, don't if you wanna play it safe.
Now just sing the damn song!
Then he pushed me home.
Pushed? Wait.
On the street, boy and girl meet. Those summer nights.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
There you are. One more time, one more time.
I think the program has made a difference because of, I think, 9 years we've done it. About 22 series regulars have come out of it. Numerous actors and writers have gotten agents. 3 have gone on to Saturday Night Live. Even one of our writers has gone on as a writer to Saturday Night Live. So it's been impressive, the opportunities it's given people. But more than that, it's really been a master class. This is about strengthening people and making them ready for the professional side of this business and understanding all the difficulties and how far we have to go.
Since the CBS Showcase, I'm a newbie to California. I haven't been here yet for 2 years. It'll be 2 years in August. So the Showcase really did change my life and step it up a big old notch. I got a fantastic manager and have been going out for meetings like crazy. Like Nico, I got a whole deal with CBS, which allowed me to just be seen for everything here that I was right for, which was great. And I hadn't been working for 2 years. Being here at this showcase really helped me kind of hone my skills and get back on my whole thing.
I actually got a manager out of Showcase right away, and I'd gotten a lot of really good contacts from the networking event there and started going into meetings. That was very exciting. And from the Showcase, I actually ended up booking 3 pilots, 2 sketch pilots, which obviously utilized my writing skills that I feel like I really honed here at the Showcase, writing and acting in both of them, and then a multicam pilot for TBS called Buzzies, which has been picked up to series since then. And in fact, it's been so busy that I actually had to let go of one of the sketch comedy pilots because it was in 3rd position. I've had offers to write. I've had writing offers. I've had offers on people to just do punch-ups. So it's been kind of a really amazing ride in the last couple of months.
The CBS Showcase was definitely like a huge game changer. I was doing stand-up for 9 years before doing the Showcase. I hadn't really acted much before, and literally like the day after our show ended, I was, I think for all of us, we were all of a sudden going like on 4 or 5 auditions a day, which is more than, that first week after Showcase was more auditions I've been to in the first 3 years I was living in Los Angeles. It was kind of crazy the kind of exposure we all of a sudden got. It was definitely like doors that
wide open.
I was doing a lot of stuff at UCB here in LA, and that's a good way to get yourself out there, but it's nowhere like the CBS Showcase, because you go down in this basement for 3 months here at CBS, and
right.
you go in you have these things that you do at comedy clubs for comedy nerds, like, oh, I have this character named Teeth, and he's crazy, and he works at a cereal factory, and they're like, what are you talking about? And they can help you take your stuff and make it palatable, and have it be seen by a big audience of people who can actually change your life. Mm-hmm. It was definitely the showcase that helped me get a pilot. I booked a pilot on CBS called How I Met Your Dad, and it for the most part, it had to be from the showcase that got me the pilot, because they had so much prerequisite knowledge of my performance, having seen me for I was probably on stage for 15 minutes, and they got to see me. So when they saw me, they were like, oh, I know that guy. And also, every time I go to a meeting, now they're like, oh, you're the dude who shit his pants. And I'm like, yes, yeah. Are you talking about on stage or the
Yes to both.
Yes,
Yes to both. Yes to both. Yes to both. Yeah.
So it changed my life completely. CBS I also got a holding deal from CBS.
We were all on Variety.com.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Hollywood Reporter, Deadline.
Crazy.
It was everybody was.
Yeah.
I mean, I was freaking out when I.
So if you're not known in the city, all of a sudden you're known in the city.
I mean, it's crazy. I remember not knowing what I was getting myself into when I started doing it. I mean, I had no idea. Yeah. My manager had never submitted a client for it before, so I was just the first. And I remember kind of halfway through, I decided that I was like, you know what? I have no idea what to expect out of what's going to happen. No one knows. Yeah. And I was like, all I can really hope for is that I just am a name that people think of when a role comes up. That's really all you can hope for. And, that definitely happened. I think in between our last day of shows, between the matinee and the evening show, I had 4 auditions for pilots the next week, and auditioned twice a week, almost every day of the week. I think it was 12 pilots that I auditioned for.
Wow.
And it was just people were, we were on their mind, you know what I mean? It was just the showcase is nipping on the heels of pilot season, so the timing is really right, and it prepares you for battle. It does. Also, I think you're so physically and emotionally exhausted by the time that it ends that when the auditions come around, you're like, all right, yeah, bring it on. I don't care.
Yeah.
I
feel like it was boot camp.
It was.
I mean, going through Showcase was like boot camp, and after going through, I mean, it was a very rewarding experience, but it was, at times it was hard. Yes. And all I wanted when my manager submitted me for the showcase was I just hope to maybe get an agent out of this. So everything that's happened, the whole the movie, going to every casting director's room and then being like, oh, you did, bang, that was you. All that was just this is way more than I had ever imagined.
Yeah, I don't think that it's, since the CBS Diversity Showcase wrapped up, I don't think it's a mistake that, what has happened in my career so quickly. I booked 2 pilots, but it just changed everything, because all of a sudden you were walking into auditions and casting directors were like, oh my gosh, that showcase was the funniest and best thing I've ever seen. The cast is so wildly talented. Congratulations. Right. That's where you're starting from, which I speak for myself when I say that I've never walked in an audition, been complimented, and then start doing it, which is, it's huge.
Usually you've been insulted as soon as you walk in.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, that's what you're wearing.
Nice
okay.
shoes, honey.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was
you can read English, right?
Is that your voice?
It was also so crazy because normally when I was fortunate enough to get an audition, it was for Thug Number 3, which I'm never gonna book, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so it was a cattle call, every black person from here to Missouri, and we were all shoved in a tiny room for a non-union gig that was gonna pay us $25 to wear our own clothes. And so to have all of a sudden these auditions for co-stars and guest stars and series regulars, and looking out into the room and seeing that you were in a room with people who have long-standing careers, because all of a sudden you are known by casting directors, is I mean, it's mind blowing. Yeah.
I think you get fans. That's what it is. You get people who are just fans of yours, and these
Also,
with power, which is great.
If you, if any part of you is doing comedy to get your parents' attention, this showcase is great for that. Both my parents got to see it, and my dad afterwards was like, "Now that was funny," and I almost died. Like I almost died. Like he's come to so many of my shows, and he just hates. He hates like indie comedy.
Right.
He like, you know, if it's not a stand-up screaming jokes at him, he just doesn't get it. And he was like, "Now that was, they know how to showcase you, son. I have never had fun at UCB." He gets up out of his seat and wanders around like,
no.
It was fantastic. I was so happy.
Can I just say that I think a big thing for me out of this showcase was that I came out, I feel like we're a family. And that we're still on Facebook with each and every one of each other. You know, I really feel like I came out with some friends and some family out of this. And to me, that's the most important. Like the jobs will come and go, the money will come and go, or fans or whatever. But I do actually think that we will always keep in touch. And that feels really, really good. And then even like the CBS family, like Dory and Fern and Whitney and Tiffany. Like I talk to Whitney all the time, you know, and Tiffany as well, and that feels really, really good because I feel like I have somebody that has my back, you know, who's always going to be thinking about me on a regular basis, whether or not they bring me in for stuff or not, but I still feel like a connection, and for me, that's really important.
The camaraderie was extremely special, and
it really was,
because it's a really intense.
You bond together over this super intense
this
experience.
Really bizarro experience that no one else can understand.
People
your
try to
friends
explain
don't get
to you.
Your friends don't get it. It's just like they're like, okay, so what?
My friends who have done the showcase in the past, they try to explain to you like what it's going to be and try to tell you what to expect. And I was like, you know, I'm like, okay, whatever. And then you don't really get it until you go through it. You're just like, wow. But you know, I talked to, you know, and I talked to somebody from the showcase every day.
Exactly.
Every single day.
I had to audition 4 years in a row to get in. And then when I did get in, I didn't even get in as a performer. I got in as a writer. Do you know what I mean?
But you win.
Yeah.
3 pilots.
3 pilots.
You win.
But I say that not to be like, I did it, look at me. But I say it to be like, it's good. It's good training to be like, this is what your career is. You didn't get it? Oh well. You know, like keep trying. You know what I mean? Like this life that you've chosen to live goes on beyond what happens when you walk out of the room.
And it also, I think, to that extent, is like the experience is what you make of it. You can take advantage of it. You can be brought in as just a writer and think, no, I'm going to be a performer, and just work hard during that time.
Okay.
So much sass.
Mine.
But it's true, you know. You just refuse to take it any other way, and the program is built for a lot of that, for you to take your matter into your own the matter into your own hands. Like you take the reins. It's up to you. If you want to show up every time and push yourself, go ahead. If not, then don't. And the show will reflect that. Yeah. So yeah, it takes a lot of responsibility, I think.
It was such a really huge learning experience. Like my background was strictly stand-up. That's all I've done all my life, you know, for the past like 9 years. That was my thing. And I've always wanted to do improv and sketch. You know, I could never afford the classes in LA because I was always so broke. But doing the showcase was like boot camp. I learned so much. And by the end of it, I was like, okay, I can, you know, like I felt like I had the tools to, you know, at least get started in sketch and improv. So.
I had a lot of training before I got to see the CBS basement, and it just helped me so much. I would say like don't try to be seen by the most important people in this town too early. Right. Because it can be as good as it can be, it can also be just as detrimental sometimes. So I would say like try to do everything you can, you know, before you get here, you know, so you're ready when you do show up here.
There's not going to be one thing that's going to make or break you. That's just not the way it is.
Yeah.
You're not going to arrive and, like, that one job is gonna, you know, catapult you into superstardom or whatever it is that you want. It's a lot of things, and I think what you're saying, Drew, is like it's the training, it's the right timing, it's waiting and being patient and knowing for yourself when you're ready to take on something this big, because when you step onto that stage, everyone is expecting the most of you, and you know, we had auditions day of shows and days after, and they are expecting you to be a complete professional, and you only have, you know, the first impression, and I think it's just do whatever it is you need to do to feel prepared. If it's be in classes that are strictly acting classes while you're doing comedy things, like do that as well, because it's also different. The audition is a different skill, and what you're auditioning for, these TV shows, are different than what the sketch show is. So I think make yourself as malleable and as prepared for anything.
For me, as an actor, I think I would want somebody to tell me to just show up and be yourself. Because there is nothing more special than that. And if you try to put on anything, and I literally am talking to myself right now, not just to these actors, but the only thing I can do is show up and bring myself 100%. And if I ain't got 100%, just still show up anyway. And be myself.
Authenticity is so much more, I think, revealing and attractive than like trying to be something that you're not.
You leave feeling good because you didn't try to do anything different than be who you are. You know, like when you go into the room and you're trying to do extra jazzy things, that's not you. You leave feeling a mess. Whereas if I come in, I stand my ground, I am who I am, I say these words, and then I can leave with my head held high.
And casting
instead of
knows
crying.
too.
And casting
everyone
can feel that.
Yeah, you can tell.
I guess if I had advice, it would be like, just keep trying. Like, so much of it is persistence. Like I said, I auditioned 4 years in a row. I did not make it. And on the day of my last callback, I almost didn't show up because I was too busy working my job at the gym where I was cleaning a gym. I almost didn't show up to the CBS Diversity Showcase because I was getting paid $9 an hour to clean up rich people's sweat.
Now she's making that pilot money.
Yeah, but it was all ego. It was all me being like, if they wanted me, they would have called, you know what I mean? They would have had me, they could have had me 4 years ago. And it was all me being like, I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And that was dumb. I wouldn't be here right now.